Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into an idea that might just be the key to understanding why love can feel so complicated, why it seems so hard to find and even harder to keep, even when you want it more than anything.
Have you ever felt that? It's such a weird feeling. On one hand, you're all in, you want that deep connection. But on the other, it feels like some invisible force inside of you is just slamming on the brakes. If you know what I'm talking about, then you are definitely in the right place.
So, to really get a handle on this, let's start with a really simple but powerful analogy. I want you to think about your ability to receive love as being controlled by a thermostat. Seriously, this one idea might completely change how you look at your entire love life. And at the heart of this whole thing is something we're going to call the love set point. Think of it as your default setting for how much connection you can handle. It's programmed deep in your subconscious, way back in your childhood, based on your earliest relationships. It's the level of connection your nervous system learned to call normal, and because it's normal, it feels safe. And this is where that thermostat analogy just clicks, right? Imagine your thermostat at home is set to a cool 67 degrees. If the room gets any warmer, what happens? The AC kicks on to cool it back down. Well, your nervous system does the exact same thing with love. If your normal growing up was chasing after love or proving your worth, then a calm, stable, healthy connection is going to feel too hot. And your internal system, without you even realizing it, will start trying to cool things down, usually through sabotage, just to get back to that familiar temperature. Okay, so this brings up a huge question, right? Why on earth would our systems be wired up like this to begin with? Well, the answer gets into this really fascinating kind of backwards way our brains are built, where something that is actually safe can feel totally unfamiliar and maybe even a little dangerous. And here it is. This is the crucial point. Your brain literally does not know the difference between what is familiar and what is safe. It's a survival thing. So if your childhood felt a bit chaotic, or if love was inconsistent, your brain wired that feeling as safe simply because it's what you knew. So now, as an adult, a genuinely secure, loving connection can feel weird. It can feel foreign, and your brain might actually flag it as unsafe. And living like that, for years and years, it creates this deep-seated pattern we can call self-abandonment. It's that thing we do where we basically trade in our real, authentic self for a kind of survival character, a version of us that we think we need to be to get love, to get approval, or just to feel safe. And really, it's like we're living in one of two modes. You've got the I am me state, where you're authentic, you're real, you say what you feel. And then there's the I am not me state, and that's where the people-pleasing, the overthinking, the need to control everything, that's where that lives. And you got to ask yourself, how is anyone supposed to connect with the real you if the real you isn't even in the room? When we're operating from that not me space, it isn't just a vague feeling. It shows up in these really specific behaviors. We become chronic people pleasers. We overgive until we're completely burnt out. We're constantly overthinking, over-explaining, looking for validation from other people. These aren't just personality quirks. They are deep, protective strategies designed to keep us away from any feeling that threatens that old, familiar set point. All right, so we have this internal wiring, this thermostat set point, but how does that actually play out in the real world, in our actual relationships? Well, it creates these really distinct patterns that, without us even meaning to, actively push love away. And a lot of times, these survival strategies look a whole lot like the classic attachment styles. You've got the anxious pattern, which leans in hard, terrified of abandonment. And then you have the avoidant pattern, which pushes love away because it's scared of being smothered. Both are just trying to stay safe based on that old programming. And the crazy thing is, they're often two sides of the same coin, constantly drawn to each other in this chaotic, difficult dance.
It's just like Aaron Doughty says here. You are attracting people that fit into the other side of that patterning. It's like a perfect energetic lock and key. If you're an overgiver, you will almost always find an overtaker. If you're a fixer, you're going to keep finding people who need fixing. Your pattern literally calls out for its perfect match.
Okay, I know, this might all be sounding a little heavy, maybe even a little hopeless. But listen, this is the most important part of this whole explainer. You are not stuck. You are not stuck with your set point. It is totally possible to reset your entire system, and we're going to talk about how to do it right now.
So here it is, a super practical, 4-step way to start recalibrating your system. Number 1 is just awareness. You have to start noticing, in the moment, when you flip into that not me mode. Step 2, instead of running away from that uncomfortable feeling, you have to lean into it.
Get curious. Ask yourself, what am I actually afraid of right now? 3. You reconnect to your body. Take a breath. Feel your feet on the floor. And finally, the bravest step of all, you choose to be authentic. You say how you really feel, even if it's scary. And this is the absolute key. You let go of trying to control how they react.
So what happens when you actually start to practice this? What does life even look like when you start operating from a new, regulated set point? Well, it all comes down to this idea of choosing yourself, which, funny enough, is the very thing that finally attracts real, authentic love. The entire game changes because you're asking a totally different question. The old pattern is completely obsessed with, do they like me? Am I doing this right? It's all about getting that external validation. The new, regulated pattern asks something else entirely. It asks, do our values actually line up? Do I even like who I am when I'm around this person? It's a huge shift from looking for approval to looking for genuine alignment.
So what this really means is you're creating a whole new set of default settings. Instead of proving yourself, you just focus on being yourself. Instead of chasing after someone, you learn to come back to your own center. And you make a conscious choice over and over to pick what aligns with your values instead of what might just get you a quick hit of validation. This is how you literally teach your nervous system that the safest place to be is right here inside yourself. So I'm going to leave you with this final thought to chew on. We spend so much of our lives searching for the right person, looking for love out there. But what if that's not where it is? What if the incredible, deep love you've been seeking isn't waiting for you to find it? What if it's just been waiting patiently for you to finally and completely choose yourself first?